Hello and warm welcome, dear listeners, to New Generation Women, and I'm Jeanine from Seenus. Who would love to enjoy juicy, sensual, yummy, loving, tender, passionate, healing, energy-giving, and simply wonderful sex 2020? For New Year's Eve, I have chosen this very special interview for you, as it is one of my top podcasts from my earlier productions. So here we go. Part 1, now also available for my YouTube audience, followed by part 2 on the first day of 2020. And I heard it's going to be a really, really good year. For that, we celebrate a deep, healthy, loving, and fulfilling sexuality in 2020. Welcome to an amazing show today. The topic is huge. Welcome to NGW and NGM Radio Hour with Jeanine Seenus. Sex is still a huge magnet for marketing, music videos, Hollywood films, internet platforms, and as good as sex feels, if sex comes out of greed, compensation, aggression, feeling lost, urge to release pressure, it is a one-way road that leads to emptiness. Fact is, many people, including couples, feel unfulfilled sexually. Fact is also we are exposed to conflicting messages. And even if we look for affairs, toys, swinger clubs on the outside, it is an instant gratification that does not bring the connection or the love that most of us are longing for. Our interview guest today is an author of the best-selling books The Heart of Tantric Sex and Tantric Orgasm of Women, for women. She belongs to one of the world's top 3 experts of love, a sex therapist, and her film, Slow Sex, won the first prize of the Cosmic Angel Award. Diana, slow sex is conscious sex. What does that mean?
Well, conscious sex means to be here and now in sex, to be aware of each moment, how you are connecting, how you're feeling your body, because the way we are conditioned in sex, or the imprints we get from our society in sex, this is all about having goals and agendas in sex. So even that we're involved in sex, we're not really conscious in sex. We want something from sex. We want usually to build up the level of excitement, the level of tension, and then discharge it. So this is all happening in quite a unconscious way, in a very routine way. Mm-hmm. So we can say generally, as a humanity, there is not much awareness during sex.
And that makes totally sense. And if I think, thinking of some men, and I would say, be conscious, come into the here now, they think, I want to have sex because I want to relax. Don't give me all that agenda that I have to do now. Is it first for men, are they backing off? Women may be the same. They just want to do it. They don't want to think about it.
Well, it does require a certain amount of intelligence and curiosity about one's potential. So, of course, one can just react and say, I'm not interested. But it's difficult to say something about that subject until you've tasted it. So what has surprised me over the years is even that men are generally more resistant than women. As soon as they have a little flavor of it, it speaks to them. Suddenly, this connection, which actually happens through being more connected with yourself, more connected with the body, not so much with the mind, this is deeply nourishing and creates love between two people.
And the connection, I remember that with one man, I said after a while, slow down. And because he went into that routine that you were talking about, afterwards he said that was such a connection, that was so good. And I was kind of relieved because before I think women are also afraid to listen to their own bodies. Maybe they feel, wow, there's something that doesn't feel good or doesn't feel fulfilling, but to also take a lead. Is that something that you would advise to women?
Well, women definitely energetically can guide things. If a woman is more present and, more relaxed and open, that automatically brings man more into the here now. And so women are afraid, though, to take the lead because they're afraid
Yes.
the man's going to not like the sex or go and find another woman. So as women, we do compromise our bodies because, we are generally more in tune with our bodies. And the conventional style, which is pretty fast and often quite aggressive, this is not suiting the design of women's body. And but women will rather compromise for love on the surface. But they do deny at a deep level, their own truth and integrity. And coming back to your thing about men wanting relaxation, this is a negative relaxation. It means you're relieved of some stress and some burden.
Yes.
It's not, the true power of relaxation is that one feels refreshed and regenerated. And generally speaking, men do not feel that after sex. They feel a bit more wasted, a bit more depleted, and also disconnected.
From themselves and from their partner.
Exactly.
Because they did it in a, yes, you said in the beginning, it's more a mental way of having fantasies, pictures, is that what you say? Of having goals, that's how it has to be. It has to always end with an orgasm. And if there's no orgasm, that hasn't been good sex.
Well, that is actually how it is. And but once one starts to experience containing the energy, because if you don't have an orgasm, then you hold that energy in the body. So you feel revitalized and uplifted. So it's really to change this habit from always energy going down and out the body to learning the art of being more relaxed and holding the present and not building things up to a peak.
I remember there were two men in my life, and I wasn't very aware at that time, but I remember I was very impressed by that. One, he had to go through an exam at university, and the other one was a sports reporter at radio, and they would just imagine, they would just connect with their sexual energy, not to have an orgasm, but to have that energy available for getting through the exam or getting through something that was very important for the other man at the radio station. Is this something that men just, that they can play with, that they can have available for them in a conscious way?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, when you learn how to be more present, you will see that actually to create an orgasm, there's quite a lot of intention behind it, quite a lot of tension. We really are doing something, and we need stimulation, we need excitement. So if you learn to stay more cool in sex, just in the more here and now without these agendas coming, yes, a man does not have to come. We have this impression that man has to come every so often, but this is not true.
Okay, because I think a woman would feel then if he doesn't come, then it's her fault, or it's because she might not be erotic enough, or whatever is going on in a woman's mind then.
Well, you definitely have to change your mindset. So if you're in a conventional mindset, yes, this kind of thing is going to happen, but there is a whole other perspective that exists around human sexuality that us as humans have not tapped into. And it's this, what we can call the spiritual aspect or the generative aspect of sex, that really leads to evolution of a human being or of the race.
If you could just say again, what is the conventional mindset, if you just have three keywords, and what is the conscious mindset around sexuality?
Well, the conventional is about excitement, stimulation, and discharge. Mm-hmm. And we can say the generative is for awareness, presence, and containment of energy. So it's not like you can just cut from one day to the next. You have to retrain your body not to go off into fantasy, or go off into excitement. It's to stay here and, be more in the present and listen to the body, because the body has its own intelligence. Like, for instance, fantasy, this is just becoming more and more important because otherwise people don't get excited. Mm-hmm. So fantasy has become the fuel of sex. So it's, again, the mind is dominating the body. The mind is telling the body what to do. We've lost the capacity as humans to be really in our bodies.
In the body. Is that why 50 Shades of Grey had such a great hype? Because, again, it would give something to our fantasy, and that's, in the beginning, erotic.
Yes. Yes. It's the lowest level of sex, the lowest denominator.
I heard from an expert, he said, if you go for casual sex, or if you have a lot of casual sex, or just, you want to release pressure, it's aging after a while.
It's nothing to do with one-night stands. You can have a completely conscious, loving, fulfilling experience in one night with one person. I think it's just more the belief that one has to discharge energy, build it up and discharge, and actually it affects men equally as much. Men would be a lot better off if they learned to contain their energy. So I can't say about the aging, but definitely when women and men start to, go into conscious sex, there is a regeneration, and you see the shine in people's faces.
Yes.
So it is so interesting that, how we have sex has an impact on our body, on our happiness, on our love. And this is the main thing, really. If we're talking about conscious sex, we're talking about loving sex, and sex that creates love rather than creates separation.
But can you also have, because I really find that very interesting, normally you're looking for connection, or you're looking for love. Women tend to do that, in quotes, women. And if you have casual sex, you don't have your long-term partner, but you like to have sex, is it possible that with one-night stands you can have that fulfilling way? Is it that but then you need to have a partner who is in the same mindset or in the same openness of a new way of connecting?
That is true, but if a woman has learned how to do that, to be in the here and now, then she has the capacity to influence man in that moment. Now, not, I don't want to talk about myself too much, but I learned. And then I found, wherever I went, I had that. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of obviously it's not easy to learn just if you're having a series of one-night stands. In that sense, it is good to have one partner that you can really practice this disconnecting from this pressure or this imprint that we have to come. Mm-hmm. And, it's where we started the conversation was women do have the power to lead a man, but we're so in lack of trust and lack of understanding of our own bodies that we tend to fall in very easily with man to please man and to get some kind of a love.
So it's encouraging women to say, I heard once that my mentor said, women are the masters of sexuality, and that was very new to me. That gave me the bravery to to say no or to lead something where I wouldn't have said anything before. Sorry?
Yes, that is true. That is true. The thing is, we don't know it, and we don't know how to access that power.
Where does sex begin? Because we are talking about, sex doesn't necessarily have to end with orgasm. So that's the old conventional way. Sexuality is way more. Sensuality is way more. So where does sex begin?
Well, actually it begins in the brain, not the mind.
Really?
We have...
that's interesting.
Some glands, the pituitary and pineal glands, and these are the master glands of the body, of the endocrine system, and they release substances and hormones that bring us to a state of readiness for sex. So, it comes, it's like, if you can imagine a circle, it's from the brain, filters through different levels, arrives in the genitals. Then the choice is, what do you do with it? Do you push it down and out through tension, or do you relax and allow it to rise through the body? Now, the body is designed for the rising of energy. And this is, what is very interesting is that we have the impression that tantra or conscious sex is somebody's choice. It's like not for everybody, but every individual is born with the capacity to circulate energy within themselves. It's just what nature gave us. And so we learn, we have the capacity to circulate within ourselves and between ourselves. So it's more like we have to return to our nature. We've stepped away from our nature. That's why there's so much confusion in the whole sexual domain at present. But it does require that we inform ourselves. There's no information about sex. It's all imprints, porno, subtle messages, but nothing that really says, look, here's a penis, here's a vagina. How do these guys work together in their optimum way? How do two bodies connect? What is the difference between male sexual energy and female sexual energy? And this is one of the big, big missing pieces, is the understanding that men and women are completely opposite.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we know that by now.
Well,
sorry.
But I'm really talking about energetically,
yes.
Not just in their minds or anything like this. But they're equal forces, but opposite forces. And these two forces are complementary. So when we understand the difference between male energy and female energy, then we know how to cooperate with the design of the body.
Before we go into the experience of women and men in the second interview, please just clarify again, what does it mean if men are different energetically and women are different energetically, sexually?
Well, in totality, woman is a receptive force, and man in his totality is a dynamic force. So when we get man anchored in his presence, his energy naturally flows, and if a woman is anchored in her presence, she naturally absorbs and receives. So if you put these two bodies together, then there is the potential for circulation of sexual energy that's way beneath all the superficial side of sex, which is the excitement and the stimulation. It's only when we learn to be more conscious, and consciousness slows us down, and slowing us down makes us more sensitive, only then can we start to realize what is present in the body.
Cuddling is also very fulfilling. Sometimes cuddling or just caressing and just, laying next to each other without really doing. So women tend to like that. Women, in quotes, always again. I know I'm just going to cliches, but that's what from the conversations I had with friends and with colleagues. And most women would say, yeah, he cannot cuddle. If he cuddles, he just immediately wants sex. And so would it be, to bring it into practice, would it be a step backward and just start to cuddle or caress again before you go into action, to connect on that level again, so that the woman can be in that receptive energy?
Well, the most important thing to understand is that woman's body takes longer to warm up than man's body. And this is our fundamental difference. Man is instantly ready for sex and woman is not. And this is often thought of as a psychological problem or some kind of a block or some kind of frigidity, but it really is not that. And that's why women appreciate cuddling, because then she has time to warm up to the event of man entering her. And it's not like you go into action. Whatever happens after that is very relaxed. It's not goal-oriented. It's just in the here and now. The problem with women and why women turn off from sex after a period of time is because again and again man goes into her body before she is ready. And woman, because she pleases man, that's one of our kind of imprinting. Man has performance pressures, woman has pleasing pressures. So we please man again and again, but after a while the body goes like, thank you, but no thank you, because it's not being accessed at a deeper level. So in cuddling, women don't feel the pressure that they have to please, or the man is just there. Things are warming up slowly. So ideally, lovemaking should start with just kissing and cuddling and being together, being present. And that's really what a woman wants from a man, that she is, that she feels him there.
Yes.
And presence. Vice versa. But
yes.
Women is much more perceptive on that level. You know, like she can feel man going into her body, using her body to get something. And this is what, you know, also turns women off after a while.
Like yoga and meditation, sex can also be a way to find and connect with yourself on a deeper level and to raise the quality of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, that was part 1 of NGW and NGM Radio Hour with Jeanine Menzies. In part 2, we will talk about sexual concepts and experiences of women and men, how they learned to transform conventional sex into a fulfilling sex life. Thanks to our interview guest, best-selling author and sex therapist Diana Richardson. And thanks for listening, and hear you hopefully soon again. Bye.